Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Steelers leak massive decision on quarterback draft in first round. The Pittsburgh Steelers have long been rumored to draft their quarterback of the future in the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday night. According to one Steelers beat reporter, the team might be leaning towards drafting a defensive lineman. In a mock draft conducted by the Los Angeles Times, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Jerry Dulac has projected the Steelers will bypass the quarterback position and draft a defensive tackle. He projects them taking Walter Nolan with the 21st pick of the first round. Nolan would certainly fit the bill for the Steelers' need for a defensive tackle. He's an impact run defender and pass rusher, as evidenced by his 75.0 pass rush grade and elite 91.6 run defense grade, per Pro Football Focus. The Ole Miss product was a consensus All-American in 2024 and had 6.5 sacks during the season. He also had 14 tackles for loss. This still does not solve the Steelers' quarterback issues. They have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson on the roster, but general manager Omar Khan said he wants 4 quarterbacks to go to training camp. The team allegedly has a 1-year offer on the table for veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers, but he does not seem to be jumping at it. At 41, he also does not solve the Steelers' long-term need to solidify the position. The Steelers have been linked to 3 different quarterbacks and all 3 should be off the board if they try to wait, and Pittsburgh doesn't even own a pick in the second round to grab one, anyway. The team has brought in Colorado's Shedeur Sanders, Nolan's teammate Jackson Dart and Alabama's Jalen Milroe. All 3 could be first-rounders, with the Steelers leaning another way. Pittsburgh Steelers give hint on interest in massive first-round pass rusher. Do the Pittsburgh Steelers really like Michigan defensive tackle Kenneth Grant that much? Throughout the NFL draft process, head coach Mike Tomlin has emphasized that the nose tackle position is a dying spot in any defense, including the Steelers' 3-4 defense. On Tuesday, he reiterated the same point, but stated that when the team scouts defensive tackles early in the 2025 NFL draft, they will prioritize talent over schematic fit. You know, I think the nose is a disappearing animal the way that the fullback is a disappearing animal in our game, Tomlin said. He added to that statement that the Steelers at defensive tackle are flexible and will draft the best pure talent. The higher you're picking in the draft, the less you're concerned about schematic fits because their pedigree should supersede schematic fits, and the more marginal the pedigree, the more you better identify the schematic fit, and so later in the draft, that's probably more significant discussions regarding schematic fits than at the top end of the draft, Tomlin said. This is similar to a statement Tomlin said at the NFL owners' meetings. When the Steelers took Keanu Benton, it was because he was a nose tackle who could play out and down the line. It certainly would seem the team is not going to draft a 2-down nose tackle in the first round. Keanu Benton, has versatility, but that's why we took him that high. Particularly in today's game, there's not a lot of nose tackle play in today's game, based on matchups and so forth. I think we spend about 80% of our time in sub-package football. And so, his versatility is an asset to him and us where he's not reduced by offensive personnel that's potentially on the field or not, Tomlin said. So, that brings everything back to Grant. Will they really take a player viewed as the top nose tackle in the first round? All of that would depend on how much they think Grant can play as a 3-down player, and how much pass rush upside he brings to the table. If they think he can be a useful sub-package pass rusher, then Grant would firmly be in play. However, some of these comments cast a shadow of doubt around Grant's stock with the Steelers. Steelers say NFL draft plans don't rely on the status of Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are still waiting for Aaron Rodgers to decide whether he wants to play in 2025. Yet coach Mike Tomlin and general manager Omar Khan stressed Tuesday that Rodgers' uncertain status will not impact how they approach this week's NFL draft. The Steelers have the 21st overall pick in Thursday night's first round and have needs across the roster, most notably along the defensive line and at quarterback, where Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson are the only two players under contract. Khan said the plan is to have that number double by the time the team reports to training camp in late July, and that all options are on the table on how the club might add whoever those two quarterbacks end up being to the roster. The 41-year-old Rodgers toured Pittsburgh's facility in March and said last week that he remains in contact with the Steelers, but added that current circumstances in his personal life have taken precedence over whatever might be left of his career. The group of quarterbacks in the draft isn't particularly deep, though Khan said multiple times it's a good group. The Steelers brought in 4 prospects for a pre-draft visit, including potential first-rounders Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders. Tomlin called his time with Sanders productive and said that the focus was on football, not Sanders' father, Colorado coach and Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. There's a toughness there, in Shedeur, that doesn't get talked about enough, Tomlin said. There's a competitive spirit there that doesn't get talked about enough. I know he is very talented and has made a lot of plays for his university and his team, but the intangible qualities displayed on tape were impressive to me. The Steelers don't have a ton of draft capital, having sent a second-round pick to Seattle for wide receiver DK Metcalf in March. While there's a chance they could trade into the second round, Khan doesn't seem interested in including talented but immature wide receiver George Pickens in whatever package it might take to make it happen. Pickens is entering the final year of his rookie contract. We're glad we have George and DK here, Khan said. I think they're going to be exciting for everyone to watch. Pittsburgh used more than half of its 30 pre-draft visits on running backs or defensive linemen. The Steelers let Najee Harris leave in free agency, leaving Jaylen Warren as the most experienced back on the roster. Tomlin expressed confidence that Warren is ready to be a feature back, but it is highly likely that Pittsburgh will use at least one of its 6 selections on another ball carrier to throw into the mix. There are a ton of options along an exceptionally deep class of defensive linemen. The Steelers are looking for reinforcements up front to complement 35-year-old 4-time All-Pro Cam Hayward. Pittsburgh was pushed around by opponents during a 5-game skid to end the season. No matter how the draft shakes out, the Rodgers question doesn't appear to be going anywhere until the 4-time MVP makes up his mind for good. The Steelers don't seem to be in any rush to hear from him. Asked if he was okay with the idea of Rodgers not participating in organized team activities or minicamp next month should Rodgers remain uncommitted at that point, Tomlin shrugged. I hadn't pondered those things, to be quite honest with you, the NFL's longest-tenured head coach said. And you fan? What do you think about Aaron Rodgers' situation? Write to us in the comments.